Hi, Angie. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, Ethan. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No worries. Thank you for taking the time out to come on. I think we're best off starting at the start, really. You were born in Brixton in South London. What was your childhood like?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I mean, growing up in an area like that, it's really it makes you a really rounded person, like mentally, emotionally, accepting of diversity, accepting of, quite wealthy people on my lived on my road. You could tell because they had like the double bay windows or something, and then other people were not as wealthy because you could see that that townhouse was divided into apartments or flats. So even at the I don't know, I lived in Gately Road from the age of uh since I was born until I was about 14. So I remember at number one, there was a policeman that lived there, Mr. Butler. So yeah, so he had a good job at the Brixton police station, literally across the road, and a couple of teachers from my primary school, Stockwell Primary School, was literally around the corner. They also lived on that road. So it's a very mixed, um, diverse community that I grew up with. I mean, and my parents, coming from the West Indies in the 50s, the Windrush generation, my mom had, she's very savvy, and when they came to England, they had to deal with that no Irish, no blacks, no dogs kind of rejection. But you always meet good people, normally Irish people that they bonded with, and sooner or later, my parents bought their own house, and then they extended that invitation. They helped other people to settle in the UK that came here to work after the war. So yeah, I can't complain. I liked it. It was fun. You could knock on the door and run away and think it was good, and it was just diverse. It was all types of people. So you just grew up with a very broad, open mind, and it was a really safe place to live as well till I think it was 74. I think some riots started, and that the Brixton riots happened because that was due to the sus laws and people getting annoyed about who gets picked up, at the time. And my brother was being rounded up quite a bit, and my mum would be down and leave him alone. He's not doing anything. So the good children would be kind of wrapped up with the bad children. Um, but if you're savvy, you kind of know both, don't you? If you're at secondary school, you kind of both the goody kids and the really naughty kids as well. So yeah, it was. I lived in Brixton in Gately Road from the birth until I was 14, and then we moved to a place called Penge, which it sounds like something out of a comedy, but yeah, we moved to Penge.
Is it true then that you got out just before the Brixton riots really started?
Yeah, yeah, we did. I think my mum kind of felt it. Well, there's two things. So I went to a school called Stockwell Manor back then. I think it's called Stockwell Park now, but it's basically Brixton, Stockwell, and Clapham's mixed comprehensive school. And I went there for 2 years, and I was a complete nuisance. I didn't learn a thing. I found a report actually, which I will publish in my book, and the report's quite good. And I just thought these teachers are lying. I don't know why they're lying, saying that I was a good kid. They they did the obligatory must try harder, but um, a couple of times I remember being a nuisance because I was singing in the class a lot. As a nuisance, I was a nuisance. I didn't know about Saturday schools or drama schools, or even that the Italia Conte, which was one of England's top drama schools, was literally around the corner in Landor Road with Lena Zavaroni and those girls of the day, Bonnie Langford. They're all there. and it is like half a mile round the corner from where I live. And I just, but I was at school and getting thrown out. You know, it was Miss Brown. If I hear one more peep out, and I go beep, and it, right out. You know, it was all of that going on the whole time, and I do regret that, because if you're not good, I was good at English, but maths was really rubbish at it. And I know now that if you kind of went over it, if we had the internet like the young people have now, it could go over that equation. Because there was times when I got it and I felt so elated when I got it. But the thing is, I think that I became very blinkered about the music. It became about the music and wanting to be a star. And I know that bit is self-centered and not, you know, fame can be it's not really, it's ego led, yeah. And that, you know, we can get onto that sooner or later, but I've learned that, you know, if you really stick at this game and you love it, you just love it, and nothing can, you know, your own personal happiness is not quite happy without the singing, without the pleasure that it brings me.
So you mentioned, sorry, you mentioned there when you were at school, you started, music started taking over for you. When did you first take an interest in music then?
Well, it's funny, because my mom used to be singing in church. You know, she used to go to the local church. So I went to Stockwell Congregation Church, and I was a brownie there. So I wasn't, you know, people hear my voice and they think, "Oh, you grew up in the church," and I sort of say, "Well, no, I was in the brownies, and I went to church on a Sunday because my mum was trying to teach us right and wrong." And I don't know what West Indian parents do now, because I don't do it, you know. And I, sorry, I'm laughing because I know my Irish friends do it as well. Like, "Oh Lord, be Jesus," you know. West Indian people are, "Oh Jesus Christ, strike me down," you know, because it's a way of getting the child to, like, oh, behave without, you know, getting smacked with the hand or with a belt or whatever people used to get smacked with. I mostly got smacked with a hand, but yeah. So basically, we went to the church to try and keep us good and well behaved. And when I went there, I used to read in church, and I used to sing a bit, and my mum used to sing, and I used to be little standing next to her, thinking, I was about 3, and I used to think, she's got some power. Wow. And everybody would be looking at her because her voice would be, you know, resounding, resonating all over the place. And I really admired her. And a lot of people in Brixton admired my mum, and we couldn't really go anywhere without some other little lady with her shopping bag, you know, a little shopping trolley. Go, "Hello, Mrs. Brown. Hello, Mrs. Webster. How are you? Oh, yes, I'm all right. How are you?" And you know, as a kid, you'd be really like bored. But I saw the respect, especially when my mum sang. People would stop in their tracks, and I just thought, you know, I want to do that. I really want to be able to move people the way that she did. And so she'd be singing whatever. Can you imagine some hymn? You know, oh, she's like, "Oh, praise the Lord, oh my God." She's all like that. Hi, da, dee, da, she's all like, "What the hell? Who is she? Where's this this voice coming from? This little 5'2" woman, where's it coming from?" But yeah, her voice was incredible, and I remember being little and just hoping that I was blessed with that gift.
Was there a moment when you knew you could sing then?
Oh, it was jealousy based, Ethan. It was jealousy based because I you know, when you're at school, right? And so at school, I got casted in Oliver, and I've always been a bit of a chubster. So, you know, and a bit panto because you're not a small blonde kid. Well, I know Oliver was blonde, But then the other children in the workhouse asking Mr. Bumble for some more food, they, they at school they could be like, it was like panto, right? So I realized that I could sing and I could perform. But you know, when you perform, it isn't about just your singing. People attach themselves to your energy. It's what you're giving off that sucks people in as well. So I found that, you know, even oh, Oliver's singing over there, but I'm getting as many people watching me doing my little Cockney, you know, shanty dance thing. And it's like, it went on to kind of lose me work in the end. And when, you know, if you fast forward to when I was doing backing vocals for bands and stuff, um, but it's a good thing and a bad thing, because in the end I got to feature with the bands that I worked with. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But you know, bands like Heaven 17 and Bizzare Inc, I got to feature. It wasn't what I would call a doobie-doo. You know, you're just in the background and, you know, you look cute and you're there doobie-dooing. I would get called in like I do now to ruffle up the feathers, to get the energy going in Wembley Stadium with say if I was working with Heaven 17, you know, it'd be like, Angie, Billy, from the off, go out. Yeah, from the off, we're out there, we're not just gonna wait for temptation, we're gonna whip them up. And so, you know, I learned how to do that, and I learned how to give that bravado, because it is like this front. And I go, give it up for Heaven 17, the forefathers of house music. And I do that, and the whole place would, the whole place would respond. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I started off like everybody else doing a little bit, but finding that if you've got that spark, that energy, and I'm not a follower. I'm a soul trader. And if you're gonna work with me, you're gonna work with me because you like what I do. If you don't like what I do, I'm gonna get sacked from because the lead singer is gonna be feeling a little bit insecure, like she's gonna, oh, I don't want her to do the backing because everyone's looking at her, because it's that happiness when I'm singing. It's like you know, like them dogs when they go for a walk and they're really like, and they're really pulling the owner. That's me. I just love it, and I can't put a lid on it. That's the problem. It feels like if there was something that you were born to do, and it is give the pleasure as well as receive the pleasure, because it's very pleasurable. Let me tell you, it's like sex between me and you. It's like, it is pleasurable. The joy you get out of singing when you sing, and you think, oh, are you getting a bit of what I'm? That's what it feels like, and I guess that's why it's addictive. It's addictive. Yeah, sorry, I can talk for England. I'm sorry.
No, it's brilliant. I'm really enjoying it. So how did you get your name out there in the early days then? I know you were performing on open mics and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like the open mics are still going, which is amazing, because you need to kind of start training somewhere to see how, when I sing that song, how's it going to go down. So I went to all the open mic nights in London. If it was songwriters on a Wednesday or Monday, then there was singers on a Monday. Sorry, songwriters was on a Wednesday, voices was on a Tuesday. You know, you'd go to Dance Nation was on a Thursday, with all the dancers were going to be, you know, and you go there and circulate, and people get to know you. People, you know, it's the same. It's the same Angie, the same one. I was in my 20s. Now I'm 61. But it's the same silly girl that you're talking to right now. I went to these places because you do want people to think that they know who you are as well. Because you're schmoozing, aren't you? And I'd go, hi, my name's Angie Brown, like they should know it. No one had ever heard of me, but I'd introduce myself like Angie Brown, like the whole, oh, you're Angie Brown. We know who you are. This is before Angie Stone. This is before before, I don't know, before a lot of uh British black artists came through. I don't know, Skunk and Nancy, whatever. It was before that time. I got a record deal. I started working with bands, various bands, soul, pop, jazz, blues, reggae. I don't care as long as I was singing. So yeah, I started off doing open mic, and then I got into one of the first sessions that I ever did was in Brixton, and they had the egg boxes on the ceiling, and it was like, my boy, yes, Angie Brown in the place, yeah, yeah, giving it all that, and you'd be, you know, dready, my dreams, dready, my dread, you know, you'd be singing some dready, my dreams come true was one of them. Actually, there's a vinyl somewhere, and then I went on to do soul stuff like with EK1. I went on to that was a band based down in Thanet, and I was the lead singer. This is the mid 80s, Ethan. I can't believe it. I'm so old now. And I worked with the Dirty Strangers, and that was a good band to work with because they opened a lot of doors for me with the rock singing, because this is prior to house music, if you can imagine, if you can get your head around that. This is prior to house music. So that black voice on the big belty voice on top of pop music wasn't really around, apart from some rock stuff. If you listen to Honky Tonk Woman or 20th Century Boy, I wanna be, you know, you know what I mean? And Francis, Francis, well, T-Rex. That's it. T-Rex. If you listen to T-Rex or even Elvis, back in the day, you'd always hear the gospel backing vocalists wailing away on stuff. So I got into that scene, but again, I'm not very good at doing the DVDs in the background. That's the problem. You know, you got to let me loose. You have to. And basically, that kind of going to those open mic nights just set it up to meet the right person, uh, uh, who was there for Bizzare Inc, trying to look for that big sound, but we don't want to use the sample. They found me from a sample, so they didn't want to use the sample. So basically, have you got that big voice that we can use? Because this is how it's going. This new music's coming from Detroit, and we're taking things off a vinyl, and we want to know if you can belt. And I thought, after being in Dirty Strangers for 3 or 4 years, when it was all, you know, baby blues, we all love those seaside smells, nudge, nudge, wink, and I'm doing best in the world. We all love those baby girls, baby. It's all like that. It was really in your face. Dun, 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 dun. And I thought, and then it's funny, I got some write-ups back then with with my leather jacket and my spiky hair. Like, oh yeah, she's Britain's answer to Tina Turner. And I thought, oh, no, I've got a long way to go to even, don't even put me in the same sentence as Tina Turner, because even if you did that now, you know, back then there wasn't any social media. Loads of people, all the Tina fans would fly on you. Would slide down and, oh, don't you dare. And I feel like that as well. Don't yeah, you don't need to put me in that bracket, really, because I'm aspiring to be like them. Do you know what I mean? But the rock thing really got me singing from the right place. And I mustn't forget to tell people that I did have a singing teacher, and we're still friends now. I still love the bones of her now. So I was 15, 16, and she was in her early 30s. And now I'm 61. She's maybe 91, 92, that kind of thing. And we still, I don't know, without her, I would have burnt myself out a long time ago. So, you know, we can talk about Nettie later. I'm not sure what questions you've got, and I don't want to take you off on a wild one. I do that, But Nettie she lives in Brixton Hill. She's still amazing. Um, she's still got pupils and clients and lovely people who follow her, who have got, you know, awards. They got BAFTAs, they got all sorts. She's just an amazing teacher. But when you're 14 or 15 and someone's saying, sing from your fanny, and you're like, oh, yeah, she wasn't really saying fanny. I'm sorry, I shouldn't really say that. But she was saying, you know, hold on to your crappers. And you're like, what does she mean? You know, and my mum would be there with my mum who normally reads The Sun. She's gone to this posh lady's house with the big newspaper. She's behind. My mum was like, I don't know what I'm, and I'm like, and my teacher's teaching me to make that big sound. You can't just push on a little piece of skin which is in your throat. You can't. You've got to use the body. But when you're a kid and you're trying to connect that and get away from the shallow breathing, it doesn't make sense. But I can only relate it to learning to drive. After I learned to drive, I thought, this is like singing. The mirror, the down, ooh, over the shoulder, seatbelt on, where is it safe to come out, indicating, no, all of it. And you know, when you're learning, you think, I can't, this will never marry up. This will never sit as a, like with my automatic pilot. It did one day. And so did my singing. So by the time they started asking for house, kind of came out in the late 80s. I think I heard Jocelyn Brown, Somebody Else's Guy, and I just thought, how music's never going to be the same. The way she started this track, you kind of remember where you were, what party you were in, a bit like Mr. Kennedy passing away. You know where you were. You know, people remember where they were when Elvis died. It's like is that somebody singing like with no music on the beginning of a soul tune, because I was in a soul dance, you know, like with my sisters, did it, you know, when the music comes in. But after that big let off at the beginning was like, I knew it. I just sensed it. I said, people love that track and they're going to be asking for that voice. And lo and behold, maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 years later, people were asking for that sound on house music. And I thought, I don't know if I can, because my natural singing voice is quite Lulu, actually. It's like, you know, everybody shout now, everybody shout now, everybody shout, 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 shout. It's there. But when they wanted this big voice, I just thought, I went to drama school when I left Stockholm Manor. We moved to Penge. I went to a girls' school. I didn't do well there because I kept talking and I kept singing. So by the time I went to college, I discovered that I could, this is drama school. I could discover that I could do more with my voice if you believe it in here, if you see it and visualize it, and you know, literally think that I'm from the South. You know, I'm 30 years older than I am. I've got another 100 pounds in weight on me. And I went for an advert where, for McDonald's, I remember the images were not the same as the voices. So there was a little blonde girl and she was singing like this, literally. So I walk to old McDonald's now. Like that. I sang that on an advert. And all the images were people eating the burger. But that was only 30 seconds, in less than 30 seconds. So if you can imagine, like, enjoying yourself in a nightclub, and I just was singing some R.E.S.P.C.T. I was tearing it up in R.E.S.P.C.T. And somebody said, do you think you can sing like Jocelyn Brown? Like, inside, I'm going, get lost, mate. But on the outside, I was giving it, because I did that advert, I was like, of course, because of BS, of course I can, you know, kind of thing. I got a phone call just saying, there's these boys from Bizzare Inc. They've had a hit, which they did have. We're Playing With Knives, but I'd never heard of them. and they're looking for somebody to replace a Jocelyn Brown song, but we only want four or five, tops 6 lines from the song, and we're going to repeat it. And of course, that didn't make sense to me. What made sense to me was, one, you're going to get paid, and two, they've got to do it really quickly, because I was singing at someone's wedding the next day. I remember it clearly, and it was "You're All I Need to Get By," and that's really up in the rafters, you know. I can't even begin to. You're all I need. It's up there to get by. I mean, I don't have the freshness to sing up there today, because but it was up there, Ethan, and I thought, I can't be pausing my voice up doing this house music. What is it anyway? What? And we keep repeating it. Yeah, you got to go, wow, it's your time. And I was like, what people are gonna like that? You know, Jocelyn did it, but it was a whole song, you know. Kind of, I was having this internal battle in my head. It was like, who's gonna like something as repetitive as that? Who's gonna do it? But there was this whole movement of house music on the way, with these samples, and they took Ride on Time, and they stole loads from Martha Wash, Lolita Holloway, Shaka Khan, everybody who had a bit of a edgy sound. They've probably been sampled over the years, and their work stolen. But there you go, you know. But that was the birth of house.
What was it like actually recording Gonna Get You? What was it like in the studio?
Right, so I can't remember the name of the studio, but it was definitely in North London somewhere. So I was slipping off the bed. It was in North London. I think it was in Kentish Town, somewhere like that. And like I said to you earlier, I went there and I met the guys. I didn't know them, because I weren't following house music or what was in the clubs, because I wasn't really going to the clubs to dance. So I was going to the clubs to when they had the live bit on. Once the DJ opened up, I was gone to the next live club, you know. And basically, I wanted to work with them, but I didn't understand why the music was so repetitive. Because I've been, you know, I've been listening to the Eagles, or, you know, oh, the doctor, you know, and it's like, welcome. And the chorus came, and the verse was the verse. And easy like Sunday morning. We all know the down, 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 down. We all know the middle eight. We know that this is a structure of a song. So why is this stuff going, why waste your time? You know, you're going to be mine. You know, how can that be good? That is just repeating rubbish. You know, that's what was going on in my head. But I didn't care. I just thought, get the money. It's not going to do much. It's going to die on its bum. Let's get the money and go. And that's what happened. I was being looked after by Carol Scott, who had a vocal agency, and all the T's, I's were dotted. I went into the studio and I belted out that, wow, it's your time, you know, you're going to be mine. And then and they were like, that's great, Angie, could you do the I'm going to get you, Big Bear? So I did that. And then I did some ad libs at the da 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 da. I did it. Everyone was happy. I went home, and 3 months later, it was in the charts. And if you can imagine, I'd left drama school from the age of 18, and now I'm 27. It kind of took me the best part of, you know, 7, 8 years. Well, 8 years really so I went to drama school at 18. Sorry, I left at 20, and it took another 8 years to get established and make a name for myself. Where, I was 27. Sorry, how rubbish am I at maths? I was 27, and I don't know. I hit the big time with Bizzare Inc. Right, for being in the thick of really good commercial house music and getting top of the pops and all of the excitement that came with having a hit in the 90s. So sorry, I'm going to give you a bit of room here to talk, because otherwise I'll be just talking at you. But the boys they were nice. They were nice enough, and they were cool to work with, and I enjoyed it. I really did.
It was a massive hit, and it still is. Really, can you remember when you knew it was like a massive hit?
Yeah. The funny thing is, somebody rang me. I didn't really know it was out. You know, they're not going to communicate with me. The record company are not going to communicate with me. Job done. We've got the Jocelyn Brown sound alike in the can, mate. Let's put it out, you know. And I remember stipulating, like, even though I didn't have much sense and sensibility, I was like, I want my name on the front in quite big letters so that people know who I am, even though I'm the hired help and it's not my record deal, but they need to know who the vocalist is, which has stood me in really good stead. I mean, a lot of vocalists don't say, and they don't get a look in, or sometimes people take liberties with them and put their name in a tiny little credit on the back. I mean, that does happen to the singer a lot, where it's about the DJ or the producer. You know, that's another argument for another day. Nonetheless, it came out. Bizzare Inc.'s I'm Gonna Get You came out, and I think one of the most positive things about it is that my mum and dad were still alive. And, you know, my first, we recorded Total Pot, so you can get this is, I love to share this about dad. So we pre-recorded it live on the Wednesday afternoon, but it goes out as filmed on Thursday at 7:30, whatever it was. And so when we were watching it, and I came out, and my dad, because you know, like, he's like, you might as well have gone behind the telly and have a look, because he said, oh, because he had a stutter, bless him. He was like, oh, come, you was on the television, and you was in the room at the same time. I went, Dad, are you for real? It's like a video, Dad. They recorded it the day before, and then Alma, my mum, oh yes, Gloria, Angie's on the television. And yes, I see her on top of the pops. Yes, and she's sing good. Yes, my mum would say, she's in the singing thing. Yes, she's doing our singing work. She liked. And you're like, wow. And the phone really rang off the hook. And people were really happy. Everywhere I went, you know, the dry cleaners, back then you had the Kodak shop for get your films done, the man who fixed the shoes, the man who, everybody in Penge High Street was like, Angie, you done really well, girl. Saw you told the pub, well done. You're amazing. I was like, oh, wow. All that hard work, all them years of sweeping the streets, cleaning toilets, making sandwiches. You know, I always made sure that I had a part-time job that would keep you hungry. Do you know you know how that feels, Ethan? You know you don't want to do this, whether I know I don't want to sweep the streets forever. I know that, but this is just a job that's going to keep me focused, because I've got a mortgage and I've got a fellow in my life, and we're both musicians. And if we don't put it out there, we're not going to keep on top of it, because when you're young, you don't realize it's a game, isn't it? You bought the house quite reasonable, and then maybe a year or two into that mortgage, we're gonna whack it right up. You don't know that game's gonna be played. You don't. And even if you've got one of those mortgages, it stays the same or it's variable, and you just thought to myself, wow, this is really expensive, and I need to work. So I had about 4 part-time jobs: catering, making sandwiches, cleaning. I used to work for an agency, they're not even there anymore, called Alfred Marks. I used to work for different agencies, even in Bromley High Street. I went there, said I was a chef, whatever, waitress, whatever. As long as I was working, I really didn't care, as a means to carry on with my singing. And you would meet the odd family member who would say, oh, I don't know why she do the singing. Why you don't get yourself a proper job? Why you don't do that? And you're like, oh, because you don't know anything about me, and you don't know how seriously and how this is not for fun. This is ride or die. Do you know what I mean? And so if you can imagine like how puffed up my chest was when, you know, I was like number 17 in the charts, and then it went down to number two, number four, number two, and we stayed outside of okay, so Tasman Archer was sleeping side. Blame you for the moonlit sky. Sorry, for the moonlit sky and the sleepless night. Do you know that tune? And I
No.
wonder, it's a track called Sleeping Satellite. That was number one. And we were at number two. And the Boys to Men with End of the Road was at number three. And then they went to number one, and we kind of stayed at number two. And Tasman Archer was at number three or something like that. So it was like, there was a part of me going, oh, thank God, you know, you don't want to be a one-hit wonder, do you? But then I thought, it's not your hit, really, it's Bizzare Inc. But yeah, it's just an amazing time to be on television in England. And then I realised that Top of the Pops was a franchise. So we were flying to like Italy. I think Italy, definitely Holland bought it, and we'd fly to Holland and sing "I'm Gonna Get You," and yeah, we were busy. We were busy like globally because it was huge in America. What am I talking about? Huge, and of course being a Black Brit, they really loved the accent, and they were like, "Angie, where you from, girl?" And I was like, "I'm from London, right? Really." I went back to the Oliver days. Do you know what I mean? I went, cheerio, but be back soon. I went back straight to my Oliver days, talking to those lovely American people, and they were like, "I just love your accent, Angie, and you know, we thought you were a homegirl." I go, "No, I live around the corner from the Queen," which I do in, you know, in London. We do, don't we? Because it's really, you know, it's less than 10 miles away to Buckingham Palace. But yeah, it was absolutely amazing having such a big hit in America, being a Brit who started out doing house, but house was black and gay, and only and enjoyed at certain warehouse parties, and it crossed over here with Candy Statton's Sometimes I Feel Like Throwing My Hands Up in the Air, and a few tunes like that. And then we just took it, regurgitated it, and done it slightly better than the Americans, because I find that they like it really polished. You know, like the soap stars and everybody, they like it really polished, while we like it a bit rough around the edges. So yeah, you sell us Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, and Luther, because the Jam and Lewis productions were mwah, but we are gonna sell you the rough cut mix of, you know, don't you want my love? We're gonna sell it back to you, and we we did, and they liked it, but it was originally American. It's so funny how the Brits kind of claimed it as their own. Sorry, it makes me laugh every time. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. You can ask another question, babe.
You mentioned when you recorded "I'm Gonna Get You," like it was the start of house music. What was the peak of house music like for you then, later on down the line?
Oh, the funny thing is, like, you know, I said to you earlier that it took me a little while to get my head around house music, how repetitive it was. But by the mid to late 90s, it was getting really good. Really good. Because you had, you know, I love Degrees in Motion. Shine on, let the light of my life. Yeah, what? Who's singing like that? You had Alternate, you had Sybil doing her thing. I mean, there was some good house music. Even Donna Summer got romanced into doing some house with PWL. I'm not sure about the dates, but I'm not saying that. I'm not sure if she's 90s or noughties, but it just worked. And I got my head around the fact that it's just contemporary disco. It's like disco. It's feel good and it's soulful. If you want it to be soulful, it depends on your mix, and they could speed you up and develop it into drum and bass or whatever. But I just got it because it was art and it was creative and it was England, and England didn't have the rules that America's very, very like polished about their productions. But here it's, 21 seconds go, 21 seconds go, and to the left, to the right, to the left. And it was really like badly produced, but people still enjoyed it. Sorry. So yeah, when it came to house music, it was different and it was refreshing. And what happened is we kind of felt that this was like gonna go somewhere because it was so well received, and the good house started to come, and the really, the peace in the valleys and the peace in the cities and all the, you know, Aretha Franklin's, what was that one? Cause I got bills to pay, cause it ain't you. What is that? No. Anyway, I call it deeper love, songs like that. Deeper love inside, I call it pride. Come on. I was like, this stuff is great, but I had to train myself into, because I was still fighting with the OCD of there's a verse, and then there's a chorus, and then there's another verse, then there's a middle eight with the instrumentation, and then there's choruses to finish the song. So when it was so repetitive, and then the belting on I was like, where's this actually going? But as time went on, I mean, it was worth millions back then, but it's billions now because house is nearly 40 years old. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, it's about 35. I'm Gonna Get You in 1992. So that's 34 years ago. And it must have been out late 80s. It is 40 years of house, really. Yeah. And it's really, it's great. And I don't think that I would have been successful trying to sell really polished soul music back to the Americans, unless you go to America, get a deal, and then they sell it here like, yeah, she's American, but you're a Brit. That could happen as well. So it's a game. It's a game of psychology, really.
You mentioned before, like, you're a house music legend, but you mentioned that you worked in other different genres. Is it okay if I list some and you just tell us about that experience?
Yeah. You ask.
So Mark Morrison on Return of the Mack and Crazy.
Right. Okay. So I was it was 1994. So I was a named artist, but basically the second track that came up with Bizzare Inc was not as well received as I'm Gonna Get You. And that was called Took My Love. And we came off the boil with that because they were trying to change direction. They were trying to be Jamiroquai, and they weren't. They're DJs and producers. They're not a band, So that kind of went off the boil. So I thought, it isn't like now where you've got social media and people can, swarm at you really and fly in your direction because they know where to pinpoint you. Back then, you needed to have a manager, you needed to be in a huge directory so that people could actually look you up. But back then you were an artist and you were with a major. These new little record companies with from the house or garage where you got the vinyl stacked up in your mum's front room. This was all relatively new. So for me, I was just, I just thought if I ride this through, there's gonna be more work. But people didn't know how to get in touch with me, so I went back into doing session work. And when I was doing the session work, a producer called Phil Chill got in touch with me and said, "Oh, there's this new bloke, Angie, and new soul singer, and we've got a track, and would you like to sing on it?" And I just thought, yeah, because I got to go back into doing sessions, even though I've had a massive hit with Bizzare Inc. They could go out as DJs, and I didn't go out without them doing personal appearances. So I went to a studio in Camden, met Mark, and he was nice. He was like normal, you know, really, I want to be an artist, and it's nice to meet you. And I said, nice to meet you. I said, what do you want on there? And the producer said, just sing along with the chorus. So I was in there with the, you know, yes I do, yes I do. I'm not singing in a way that you can blatantly hear me. I'm just literally fattening his vocal, and it's a very disciplined way for me to be singing, but who cares? You're gonna be on a record, and it's about working. It's about keeping your name out there and letting them know that you're available for work, because everybody talks. And I quickly, then they said to me, "Would you do a little ad lib?" Now, if I had management and I had someone in my corner looking after me, they would have said, that makes you a writer. So I just went, yeah, like I did with Bizzare Inc, and I just did that. Oh, Mark, you lied about your big break. And, you know, stop putting me down. I need a real man. I don't know what I was saying. I was just saying it. And stop bringing me down. And yeah, there's a model in the video. Oh, you get used to that. Models doing miming to you. That's not a big deal, as long as the PRS is logged, who I am and what I do, and that I get a credit, and that I get some royalties every time it's played. So that was good. And then I recorded Crazy at the same time, and as we know, Return of the Mack was huge, and then it was so big that nothing else. He's going to be a one-hit wonder, isn't he? He's going to be a one-hit wonder, because Return of the Mack itself is so huge. So that makes me feel good that I've sung on a song that's been streamed billions of times. You know, it just makes me realize that as an artist in my own right, at least, you know, I was helping Mark. Mark was new to the world as an artist, and look at that. Look where his track has gone. It's just, he's a multi millionaire, and he's done well. And he always says hello to me when he sees me, always. But when I say that I didn't get any money for the writing, it shouldn't be about the money, and it wasn't actually. It's only in much later years, it's like, yeah, you were a writer, and you know, you are a struggling, you know, single mum now. You know, at one point I was a single mum, and I could have. It feels like you could have done with that kind of income, but you know, everything happens for a reason, because I had to go out there and graft. Hence all the bands that I went off to work with in the 90s, like Heaven 17 and Stereophonics, and loads of people. Just keep working, and I think that your passion is it's more than the money, you know, Ethan. It really is, because whenever I do anything, a lot of people really send me a lot of love, especially on the socials, and they get it. You know, I show my heart, I show the story, I show, getting the boys to school, and another hard day, and I sang here at a Pride event, sang here, and then we traveled 6 hours in the car. You know, it makes it real, and it takes out the glamour, where people think, oh, you're glamorous because you look glamorous and you've got your lashes on, and you're out there and you do that job, but you're not showing all the bits in between, where you might have an upset tummy because you've been traveling most of the night, and you didn't go for a poo-poo in the morning, you're out of your routine, and you need sleep, and your voice is a bit dry. You were singing in a weird atmosphere yesterday. It was very dry, or very, very wet in there, or you caught a cold, or you're sleeping in a bed that's not your own bed. So it just makes you resilient, because you think, right, the show must go on. And slowly but surely over the years, I've just built up a reputation for myself for being a really good live performer, really good, because, I'm not saying that it sounds like I blow my own trumpet, but it's not that. I'm saying that because of the bookings and the repeat bookings I get, and the weddings and the parties that I get, because they know now when we bring Angie, she's going to lift it. You can have your harp player and your piano and somebody singing all the love songs at your wedding, but at 5 to 11, it's just gonna go off. It's gonna go off because, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got Angie Brown, and it's like that is when at the wedding reception when the bow ties come off, and and everyone's like, hey, and shoulders, and it turns into festival because I'm gonna start with obviously I'm gonna start with a cover, like something like "You and Me, we have an opportunity," and that beat down, no, 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 boo, boo. They love that song, and or I could start with get the girls singing, believe. I can sing anything I want to sing. Even Valerie, we do a little bit of Valerie for the mums and dads. They know that I'm gonna just use as what I call a willy warmer, and I'm gonna go into the house. I can take it to Took My Love. I can now I've got a new version of Hold That Sucker Down. I did, or I could even cover somebody else's song, which I don't really like doing. Like I would, I think I might have sung Ultra Artists You're Free maybe once or twice at a wedding, but because I know these people as artists, I tend not to cover their songs. But anything that I want to fill my set with, I can do it along with the credible stuff that I've done. So yeah, to get back to working with Mark, he was really nice. He was delightful. I just wish that I had proper management that could have said, now wait a minute, she's doing 8 bars by herself. That if it was Snoop Dogg or somebody doing 8 bars of a track, then they would get equal billing. But that's what happens when you haven't got someone in your corner. And but I got my husband now that I met in the lockdown. But let's talk about him later.
So what about the Doves? That was before house music, wasn't it?
How do you know about the Doves?
Research.
Ama- Amazing. Okay, so that was my little my little spate of rock music, but poppy rock. So it wasn't the Dirty Strangers with the it was like more, it was much more cute and much more Brit poppy, really. And Ken and Brian, Ken Foreman was the lead singer, and I was brought in as a backing vocalist. And I really liked working with them, but they were built up to be the next big thing since the Rolling Stones. They got a huge record deal, huge. And I remember doing some backing vocals for them and going to the States, to LA with a master on the set and orchestras, Abbey Road, you name it, we did it. We also, with the Doves, their music was mastered at Prince's studio, Paisley Park in, I don't know, Philadelphia. I think Prince was from. I don't know, but it was big time. And we really thought that the Doves were going to be absolutely massive because their songs were really clever as well. The wording was really clever. And I was a doobie-doo girl for them. And they got onto they got a TV slot. And back then it's like getting Top of the Pops. That TV slot on a Saturday morning would just help to catapult the tune into, where it needs to go, literally. And but that yeah, the TV show was called Swap Shop. Sorry, I'm trying to marry it all up in my head. But that week, unbelievably for the poor boys from the Doves, Margaret Thatcher was the guest. And she was sitting there going, that's a hit. that's a miss. That's it. She was like, basically, she was telling everybody that was too rough looking with the Mad Max haircut and da 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 da. And the bands like that, she was saying, no, I don't like it. It's a miss, right? And when Bizzare, sorry, I'm just getting hot remembering it. When the boys from the Doves, their tune went up there, and she liked their haircuts. They were clean looking. She goes, I like them. I like these boys. It's well documented if people want to look it up. And when she said that she liked it, their career nosedive. It was really weird. Yeah, sorry, I'm having a hot flush just thinking about it. And I remember watching that on TV with the boys. That was just before I joined them. So when I got the phone call of we're doing a new album, we was given your number because we know that you're a great vocalist and we want some good backing vocals on our new album. But I just thought, oh, I saw this on television, 6 months or a year ago. Oh, it's that bad that Margaret Thatcher said, oh, this is a hit. It's a hit. It's definitely. So I thought, oh, this is nice. I got a phone call from the boys, but why? They said we needed to sing on. We've written a song and it's turned out to be quite soulful. And I thought, let me look at why they've gone a bit soulful, because they've obviously been dropped. And Soul to Soul with a big band then, and just with that whole, that real British, really great soul music with a little, English edge to it. And I was like, oh, okay, do you want me to do some stuff like that? So I ended up singing a song called Beaten Up in Love Again, and Sweet Talk, and
look, that Beaten Up in Love Again, brilliant. Sorry, I liked that song.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the title put people off, and it got played on Radio 1 for about 6 weeks. And I know that in South Africa, they love that song. It still gets played. And I discovered it on TikTok with people singing away. So it's like, that's the interesting thing about the internet. You would never know about it, but you'd never know about the other territories. And I think the record companies had that on us years ago. But now that we can look up logarithms, we can research things at the, fingertips. If you wanted something that was on TV, you had to go to the British Library and look it up. Now you go to YouTube. Somebody's very nicely cut and paste it and put it up for you, and quite rightly so, because your videotape's gonna wear out one day. And I've been able to see myself with Zig and Zag and television that it doesn't exist anymore. So, the good thing about the Doves though is they just gave me a chance to sing again, but like myself, my roots that I'm known for is house, but my other roots that I really love is rock. I'm not a rock singer, but I do like guitars. You understand that? I do, because I grew up listening to the Eagles, innit? And my uncle used to love playing the Eagles. And also Thin Lizzy, come on. And even some of my best friend at school, she's a David Bowie fan, and I never used to like him back then because fighting against the machine. But once you listen, because I don't know what it is, Ethan, it was like, well, you're black, so you like soul music and you like reggae. You like a bit of reggae, and Shakademus and Pliers or whatever. Tease me. Yeah, I like the reggae, because it was culturally the thing. But when you grow up and you think, oh, what is music? Oh, it's all black. It's all black, or it's all from pain, slavery, tribal, call it what you like, chain gang, the Irish slaves, you name it what you want to name it. Because when you listen to music, it is poignant and it moves you. I can't listen to any Irish people singing. My best friend, when she's doing St. Paddy's Day, I'm crying, like unbelievable. crying, and that when they do that, that I just love it. That the Cranberries doing that, you like yodeling. I'm like, I'm in tears because my hairs are going up because I get it. Most, back then, if you were singing in the 1900s, it wouldn't be to get into the pop charts. It would be, to make yourself feel good or to lift your spirit because you're working in a chain gang or something, and that's why the blues came about and out of gospel and blues and people singing in church and giving it, oh Lord, that same, oh Lord, yeah, that's the same thing that's called the house music. Oh Lord, oh Lord, it's the same plaintive cry. It is the damn same. And if you're gonna be Muddy Waters and you're gonna do your da 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 da, and then the Rolling Stones are gonna come back with it, and we've even said to Mr. Waters, we've named ourselves after one of your songs, Rolling Stone. It is for me. It's like born out of pain, whether it's a black pain or white pain. It is pain, and that plaintive cry was just captured. Someone said, "Hey, you singing that blues? You man over there singing the blues." Maybe we can make that into a record, And then Elvis come along, the white version of it, and said, yeah, we're gonna, because it has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere, and we're gonna capitalize on it, just like house music. It started somewhere, and then it's the people with the executive brains that capitalize on it and make it into something global. So yeah, I can't remember the beginning of the question, but yeah, it's just I suppose that's where it was about the Doves, wasn't it? For me, good music is just good music, and slowly but surely I became the lead singer of the Doves, but we didn't get anywhere because we were signed to an American label and they weren't ready for this. Is before Spice Girls, when you got four Caucasian girls and one black girl, because they don't like it. They didn't like Eternal with the three black women and one. They don't. Back then they weren't ready. I don't even know if they're ready now, but they weren't ready for some like chubby black woman to be fronting a band with four white boys. They can't quite handle it. They didn't know about the marketing. I mean, Tina Turner obviously got marketed on rock radio, but you're only going to let one or two do that. It was, as I said, it was before Skunk and Nancy. It's before Hootie and the Blowfish. It's before In Living Color. I mean, the only person that I could think of that was black that really, really did rock was Hendrix back in the day, and obviously his brand of music was going to be lucrative for anybody that followed in his footsteps. But traditionally, black listeners like bass. They don't really like guitar so much. They like the things with the bass in it. So basically, I get that. In America, they weren't prepared for me to. Well, she's black. I mean, I think I think they didn't know I was black anyway till they actually saw me in the office. I was like, wow, and it's so. I don't know. It's so behind Europe, put it that way. And I just thought, well, these people are kind of compartmentalized. Let's just leave it there. Let them drop it. And it's so funny because when my husband discovered it, Beaten Up in Love Again on TikTok, and it's been shared thousands of times, and you think, well, it's not moving fast, it's not gimmicky, they just actually like the song. And then you read the comments and people saying, I've been looking for this song for years. And I think, wow, my husband just says, you know what, if they didn't drop you, he said someone in the office was having a really bad day when they dropped you lot, because if they went with it, it would have been amazing. But then I don't think, I could be dead in a ditch. You're 25, 26, having a big hit. Remember, this is before House. I don't know. I guess it would have, I don't know. It's all in good time, Ethan, all in good time.
Yeah, do you think it's sort of like the route you had to go down? Like if you would have, like say, if you had a big hit, you don't know what you'd have done, kind of thing.
And the ego that goes with it when you're young, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
the ego. I remember being quite egotistical when I was at school, getting chucked out, thinking that you don't know who you're sitting next to. Who are you? Who am I sitting? You're just a scabby schoolgirl. Shut up. Do you know what I mean? Who am I sitting next to? I mean, that's the thing about the artistry. It's taken so long to get to this point where it feels like my collaborations that I've got now is just massive, and I think it's gonna work. And but I had to I had to humble myself and not be so Machiavellian. You know, when people think that the sun goes around them, yeah, don't come with it. Be Don't be so narcissistic as well. Be humble and be kind. And I had to learn a lot of lessons. And who the hell are you anyway? If it comes to you on a plate, it just you don't appreciate it. You don't. You know, I've had my two boys. Parents have gone. Lots of things in life that make you and shape you has happened to me now, and it makes me appreciate my art, and it makes me it's taught me to you know, like how people want respect and they like, right, respect has got to be earned, and I get it now, but I'm the one that's happy to give the respect first. I'm not, you know, it's not going to be a Mexican standoff. Who's going to, no, you know, I'm going to walk in that room and I'm going to say hello to everybody, you know. Hello, everybody at Radio BBC Two. Hello, hello, Vernon. Hi, Ryland. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna do that. I'm not gonna be like, you know who. No, what is that? So I'm just so I yeah I'm grateful for the reputation that I've got in business now. I've got a reputation of being a really good professional. You know, always a bit late because trying to do everything, trying to appease everybody, get back to people on messages and blah blah blah. But definitely coming. I always communicate with my promoter and let him know I'm on my way and I'm not far away, and I might have to go straight on instead of sit around for an hour. But I'm gonna do and I'm gonna tear it up and I'm gonna raise the roof. You know, get my reputation almost you know, it outshines me in a way. Like people go, oh, you're gonna do your dog barking. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Gonna do my hair, you know, the air horn. I'm gonna do it all. Go, come on, you know, they know it, and so they kind of preempting that kind of energy, really. So
Uh,
yeah.
just back to the current day, though. You mentioned your husband's your manager now. You're still collaborating and you're actually DJing these days as well and playing live. So, like, what's it like in the life of Angie Brown at the moment?
Well, I learned to, but first of all, I learned to DJ just before COVID came along because too many times, uh, you know, it was changing from a memory stick instead of bringing a CD to the gig, you know, instead of bringing, yeah, a CD. And I think that like one DJ really turned me down and made me have a really rubbish start to a show. And I thought, you're not doing that again. I'm going to learn how to work these knobs, mate. That is a nasty thing you did. Right. So I went to London Sound Academy and I learned how to DJ, but not on vinyl. I know. Oh, no, no, vinyl. No, I learned with the and digitally, but it really became a lifesaver because during COVID, for some reason, so I lost my mom in 2019, and when COVID kicked in, I just felt on a Saturday, it just felt, where is this going? Everyone's so sad. So I thought, I just learned to DJ. I'm just going to go live on Facebook. And I started doing it live and people came on. And I went, brilliant, Angie, brilliant. Yeah, it's really something to dance or something to cheer to something of this, or that. And so I do an hour, just an hour, maybe 2 hours, but on a Saturday afternoon. And and my cousins in America would see it. Everyone saw it. Everyone really enjoyed it, and I didn't even know what I was playing. I just know that I'm just going to be putting a tune on, and I was like, yeah, it's a tune. I like this one, but it was, you know, it's a guess, you know, because I didn't really know no songs. You know, I don't know what I'm playing house music wise, and basically, I couldn't really get over the fact that that kind of 2 years went by, and half of the summer, and us musicians were not back at work. Some people obviously worked on Google Classroom, or they worked you know, by themselves because they're a builder, and they kept going. But if I didn't have the DJing and the private parties online, I don't know what I would have done, because the private parties or online concerts, you know, the online Pride, you'd go, yeah, Pride in Surrey, yeah, yeah, and then they'd switch to me, and then their other, you know, it was about momentum, keeping the momentum going. So someone asked me to play privately at their party. I thought, yeah, you're going to get a few stars thrown your way, whatever they throw at you. And I picked up the phone, and I found I found these messages, and I thought, let me tap on it. I tapped on it, and all these people, like a spam file, opened up. And you know, I don't know who they are and how to get around the phone. Really, you just know how to do Facebook and a bit of TikTok and a little bit of answering, and yeah, and you know to do text, don't you? You learn to do text. So I thought, what's this? So I looked carefully at these messages, the spam file. It said filter, not filter, whatever, and it said, "You were great on The Voice last night, and you done brilliantly. Why didn't they turn around for you?" And I thought, The Voice? Voice, I did that. This is 2021. I did that in 2014. Let me see the date. It says 2014. These people wrote to me 7 years ago, and I'm just finding them. So I thought, I'm not going to write back to them. That was 7 years ago. They're going to think I'm loopy. But I could hear my mom. Get back to people. It is rude not to get back to the people. It's rude. Rude. And I was having this conversation on my own, like literally in this bed, not wanting to live, because you haven't worked for so long. The bills are still there. You're not getting furloughed, Angie Brown. Musicians are not getting furloughed. Musicians are being asked to retrain. Musicians are losing their houses, their businesses, their income. You know, so I woke up and I had half a face of like Jaffa Cake biscuit or something like that. And I barely wanted to wash in the morning because there was nothing. My children were not at school. You know, I just forgot what a flannel looked like, Ethan. Literally. And my mum was like, get up, wash yourself, and get back to the people. And I was like, right. Oh, hi. Sharon, I found you in a spam file from 7 years ago. Thank you for writing to me. And I got through about 50 of them. Then I started to just go, hi, thank you for writing. Thank you. You were in a spam file, believe it or not. And then forwarding that to people. Anyway, one of the people that I got back to was Mikey, my husband. But he wrote back. Most people said, the people who could be bothered to write back said, that's all right, darling. That's all right. It was years ago. Mike writes back saying, as if it was yesterday, saying, well, you were amazing on The Voice, and, you know, they should have turned around for you. And I thought, this is not the answer that I want. So I said, look, babe, it's television. They know who's going to win. They've got a Polaroid. They've got the hotels booked. They know who's going to win. I was on as a little star turn, you know, legend in the 90s. What's she up to now? Give her a little star turn. It's good for me. I've got a few more bookings and the work is flowing nicely. And he went, so I did a kiss, I call a kiss off. So in Messenger, if you do a red heart, the bold red heart, or any color heart, it kind of bubbles open into about 20 other hearts. It kind of goes, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, right, it's a kiss off. Okay, mate, I explained why they didn't turn around for me. Okay, then bye. Do the red heart. And then for some reason, I thought, let me try my little spam file from, I know how to get into it now. I tried the spam file. And Mikey was in there, this Michael Monez. So I thought, what's he want? So he said, I opened up his text and it said, wow, how did you do that? I thought, do what? What's he talking about? So I said, do what? And he went, make the heart go into the bubbles. And I thought, he's old. He don't know how to even. I was like, he's old. He don't even know. Because I'm around like kids, in it. My children are going to teach me stuff all the time. Anyway, so he said, so I wrote back to him, look, mate, babe, you can even have an avatar. So I sent the avatar with its stars in its eyes. I said, you can even look like this. And then, 3 or 4 days went by and I thought, let me have a look. I looked and his avatar was a little brunette boy with the flicky hair and the stars in its eyes go. And he went, what? Like this? And I thought, ooh, he went away and studied how to do the avatars and came back to me. And that's how we got talking. And we never stopped talking from the day we got talking, maybe 1 or 2 days where Mike was doing corporate investigation work back then. He was, he'd catch the naughty scammer who was stealing in the bank or in the company. He's that type of person. It's see the discrepancies because he's a really good person at researching. And that's how we got together. He said that from the minute that he saw me on The Voice, he thought she looks like a nice person and she's really good. She should be much further. So of course, I had something to get up for in the morning and I have a little word and I'm gonna be on the phone to Mikey. I remember having a live show that I was doing every Thursday between 8 and 10. I was DJing live, and that was quite hard because it wasn't just house. It was a mixture of soul music. It was an hour of soul, and then I'd go into house, and that was for LWR. I remember doing that, and then when I'd finished, I'd be like, "Ooh, bye, girl," because by then it had turned into a little bit of a mini hippie commune every time Boris opened the country and we rejiggled a bit. 2 more family members or someone would move in with me, and I was giving it. I'm going to talk to Mikey on the phone. And the nice thing about it is that we could actually court properly on the phone. We could talk for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. You could even, like teenagers, they would fall asleep. Are you still there? Are you still there? We could do all of that. And by the time the country opened up, so I started talking to Mikey in the January 2021. And by the time the country really opened up, was it 2020, 21 or 22? 21, yeah. By the time I finished talking to Mikey, sorry, hot flash again, the country opened up and we met up in the March and it was just amazing, really amazing. And we've never looked back. And so, we got married a year later. People still getting knocked down with COVID. People were like, we're coming, Angie and Mike. No, we're not coming, Angie and Mike. The whole family's got COVID. So we ended up just inviting people, all our friends that we met together. Instead of cousins, aunts and that, we invited people that we met together as a couple over that year. And we've been married 2.5 years now. It'll be 3 years in March. Amazing. He's a good guy and he researched my career. He's found a lot of things online. It's Mike that's found a lot of music, some samples I've had a massive hit on a track with 2 foreign DJs, 2 Brazilian DJs. And because in this country, we don't really like foreign DJs. We like David Guetta and we like Bob Sinclair when we'll let the odd one through, but we don't really like any more than that. And they're called Ombos and Savette, and they've had billions of streams. They've had loads of plays, and there's a sample that I wrote and it's my title as well, that I sang on it, but they didn't know it was me because they got it from a sample website. So there's that fight is going on for vocalists and people using their samples. I think that the sample should be licensed. Obviously, that producer buys the sample, but the original vocalist or the original composer should remain that way, so that we don't make any money from the sales of what that producer has actually produced, that piece of music. But for the songwriting side of it, we should, publishing and performance is two different cakes. So for their spin on it, great, but the writing side of it should always remain with the original composer. And that's the fight that's going on. It's like, oh, Angie, will you have millions all of a sudden overnight? Or, will producers and DJs be able to get away with just buying a sample at £30 and using it and making millions, and the original writer, which sparked their enthusiasm and their creative juices in the first place, don't get looked after. And really, if you do it as songs and sales, we don't need any of the sales really, as long as, because you've paid for the sale. But for the actual song, for the actual composition of the song, I mean, Abby, I forgot her second name now, but I'm not the only singer that's had this. Lots and lots of singers, especially in the dance music side of things, have had this problem. But we vocalists are getting together actually. There's a hub called Love Vocals, and all the EDM singers who do what I call the Enya singing, loads of them have been ripped off, loads and loads of them. Loads of the vocals been used on some big track, and that DJ is going out for 100 grand, 150 grand, and you're not getting, you're getting 2 or 3 grand a gig. So us vocalists are getting together with Love Vocals, and we're going to we're not angry. Like I said, even about Mark Morrison, not angry, because what's happened has happened. But we need to correct it so that it's fair. That's all. So you will hear about Love Vocals, because every vocalist, that's especially the house music lot and the EDM lot, we're all getting together and we're all having one united front.
Yeah, nice.
Where where they won't be able to rip us off anymore, and everything will be fair. It will be, even the trauma of what some house artists have been through. My friend Coco Star, who sung "I Need a Miracle," like, I need a miracle, I need, huge song. So she wrote it. It's her voice, and then what these German producers have put a blonde, beautiful model and just take away the track and put it as their track. And they know that you haven't got the money to engage a music lawyer to fight them in the first place. That's the problem. So now we're just going to take that to Parliament, where you do that, you're going to go to prison, or you're going to get reprimanded, seriously reprimanded somehow, because you can't do that to someone. You've stolen everything. You didn't even just use the voice, the recording. No, you took the whole song and you put another person's image in there and sent it. That's why the Milli Vanilli thing blew up. That's why, the original singer of these songs are not just being totally exploited. So it's almost like a slavery, and it has to stop. That can't go on. And how they sleep in their beds at night, because even though I'm the same with I'm Gonna Get You, I don't blame Bizzare Inc. They're nothing to do with it, but the label should pay me what I earn in sales when people went to Woolworths or Tower or HMV or the independent record shops and they bought it. They looked it up under B and they bought it. I'm supposed to get a cut of that, but the label, when they get that money and they accumulate that money, they kept it for themselves, and they kind of pretended that they liquidated, like the company has not done very well. We're not there. Obviously they're still there, and when you're young and you can't Google it, you don't know. But now I know they're still there, they're still trading, they've got hits in, they've had hits in Hollywood, and they've got beautiful homes, gated drives, arenas, whatever. It don't matter. It doesn't matter, because for whatever reason, maybe karmically, that was supposed to happen. But how do you sleep in your bed at night? How do you sleep in your bed at night? But they do, they just get on with it. But us singers are gonna do something about it, because why are you getting 100 grand, 200 grand a gig, and you're playing us? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
scandalous. Yeah.
we're gonna change. Yeah, we're gonna change it.
Yeah, good luck with it all. I hope it all works out for you.
Yeah, it will. It will. I mean, I've got on Friday a new track comes out called "Get Up and Dance," and I made a video for it outside in where I live now in Forest Hill, South London. It was at the Signal pub near Forest Hill train station. So the chorus is like, "Everybody, everybody, everybody, get on up and dance," and it's really catchy. And people in the street were dancing, babies, old people, young people. And that comes out on Friday, because I'm an artist now with Armada. Armada's a Dutch dance label, really good label, fair label. And with Joe Smooth and another producer called Mr. Root. And I think Mr. Root is built is I think he lives in Poland or somewhere like that. But because it's all global, we can work together and send it and a we transfer, whatever. Joe lives in America, but I went to a music conference, and obviously you had Promised Land back in the 90s. I mean, I know you're quite young looking, but you look like you know your house. So I was at this because I always wear a coat or something that everyone will know. Oh, there's Angie over there, because everything I've got is like 30 years old anyway. And Joe came over and said, he went, "Hi, Angie." And I went, "Hello." And I was talking to Anna Ross. Now, Anna Ross is a vocalist who sings for Duran Duran. She's their backing vocalist. And we worked on the Stereophonics together. So I'd seen Anna for about 15 years. So Anna and I were like, like this. And Joe come knocking again. "Hello." It's so good I'm not rude to people. He went, "Hello, Angie. I'm Joe Smooth." I went, "Oh, hello, Joe Smooth," like that. I turned back to Anna. I was like, "Anna, do you remember when we did that? And we had to do the backing vocal on that, blah." Yeah. And he just said two more words. So, "Promised Land." He said, "Promised Land." And I went, "Promised Land." Oh, I'm sorry, Joe. Are you Joe? Are you Joe? And the angels from above thought, "Oh, mate, 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 I'm so sorry." Anna, I'm talking to Joe now like that. And Joe, Joe showed me two tracks. One's called "We Shall Overcome," and "We Shall Overcome." I know that uh, it's a political term because of Martin Luther King, but we're using it in a positive, in a positive, the ugly swan, the duckling, the ugly swan. That doesn't make sense. The girl is not so confident, but turns into the beautiful swan. The child who has put down, so many people are put down in life, and then they come through. Para Olympians. I read a story yesterday about a boy. He said that I brought tears to my eyes. He said that when his mum was 18, she was pregnant with him, so she didn't go to the prom. But now he's 18, he's taking his mum as his partner to his prom because he graduated and everything. So it's stories like that. We Shall Overcome. We'll probably use it for Love Vocals, lovevocals.com, because it is one of those. The good thing will happen in the end. The righteous thing will happen in the end. So anyway, I did a song called "We Shall Overcome," and I did another one called "Get Up and Dance." So I'm just putting "Get Up and Dance" out this Friday, the 20th of September, and yeah, it's really a happy song. It's a feel good song, and we've put a few little teasers up, and people are liking it, Ethan. They're loving it. So you can't ask for more than that, can you?
No, exactly.
So and I had, do you see this blue handbag and bright wigs? I've got this bright red wig. I look like I look like Saffron from is it Garbage? Not Garbage, one of those bands. Baby, are you ready to roll? Hot damn
Oh,
with
I know
the
you
whoop,
mean. Yeah.
with the Saffron, she's lovely. That's what I like about social media as well. You can connect with your fellow musicians. So yeah, she had the so Saffron had, it's her hair, mind you. So she's got these black roots with the red hair. Oh, Mikey, is that wig around? Oh, I've got to show it to Ethan while he's there. And because I had to style myself, when you've got with a proper record with a big label, anyway, not proper, with an independent, they let you do that yourself. But when I was signed to a major, it was like that, that would be there. The stylist, a wardrobe lady, the hair person, the makeup person, they'd organize the video, they'd organize the venue, your dancers, they'd choose the who's doing a choreographing, they'd choose the video company as well. And that video company would charge them 60, 70, 80 grand. And that's why when you have a hit, really, you've not had a hit, because you're paying back the deficit of everything you borrowed, because it's like a bridging loan. And people don't know that. And it's things like that we'll tell people about that on Love Vocals. We'll let them know. And that's why a lot of people self-manage now or self-promote. So we want the video. We want a video because it will give the track more legs, especially if people want to put a face to the, who is behind this song. Where Joe was not in the country, Joe Smooth, but we're going to film Joe at the weekend because it is his track more than mine. He's the primary artist. But we cracked on with it because we thought, if we don't crack on and then let the record company invoice the record company, we're not going to get a video. We're just going to have content. Content is not enough. Or people, and you put it up on TikTok, it's not enough. You need a proper music video, which will give it more legs, more stability, more longevity, and people can go to YouTube or even on Spotify now, you can watch a video. And I think that people like that walking through the market stuff and hello and little old lady, and you're like, everybody get on up and down, just don't worry about it. Purple one. They got the purple one. This is like this. I had that on. I mean, come on, who's gonna, because I'm quite mumsy. I'm quite girl next door, so we'll have to be wearing this. Everybody, everybody.
Yeah.
But not as bad as that, obviously, not as bad as that. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So not as bad as that, but that kind of thing. And it was really, really, really cool. Really cool. Really, it was a really good day. I really enjoyed it. And it was worth all the fuss and all the hassle. Mike had done really well. We got some great young people who are going to do the stuff that us old people can't do, the backflips, the splits and all of that. We'll just do the little shimmy down the road vibe.
Well, I look forward to playing the song on Friday, actually.
Yeah, we will send you so that you can share with your behind the curtain listeners. If we send you something, then you can describe to them what the video looks like, and plus you can also, you'll be able to listen to the track before it comes out, and you can help to hype it as well.
Yeah, nice one. I will do. Yeah, thank you. Well, good luck with it all. It's been brilliant to talk to you. I've really enjoyed your stories, and it's been brilliant to speak to you. Thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure.